remember a time when we were getting ready for a race. We were allowed to use the garage, so we had the stock car in Bay 1, and we had the engine over in Bay 2. It needed to be rebuilt. Army had the engine upside down on the stand, and he was putting in the main bearings, getting ready to install the crank. It was about this time that Louis decided that the chassis needed some welding. So he started in. Weld spatter started flying all over the garage. Army dove over the engine. He's going, "Stop! You're ruining the engine, Ollie." Well, it was too late. There's weld spatter all over the bearings. Back in 1938, Raceway Park opened up as a 1/8 mile oval dog racing track located at 130th and Ashland in Blue Island. One little problem. Dog racing in Illinois seemed to be illegal, so they did stock car racing instead. You know, not much happened during World War II as far as racing goes. But after the war, in 1947, Indiana Motor Speedway opened up with a half-mile track. It was a little far away in Schererville, Indiana, but it was close enough. Plus, did I forget to mention, it had a half-mile asphalt oval? Pretty cool. In 1952, the 87th Street Speedway opened up with a 1/5 mile oval track at 87th and Cottage Grove. You know, this is one of the only Chicago short track speedways that was actually in Chicago. We never raced there, but we all remember it from television. This track actually started off as a baseball stadium named Gill Stadium back in 1948. The next year, 1953, sees Santa Fe Speedway open up out in Willow Springs on the site of a horse race track. It dates back to 1896. It had a 1/4 or a half-mile long track, and it was clay. Santa Fe Speedway, the track of clay. And in 1956, O'Hare Stadium's 1/4 mile oval opens up in Schiller Park, just as the 87th Street Speedway shuts down. O'Hare Stadium was unique because it had figure-8 racing, better than Demolition Derby. It had a 12-year run until it shut down in 1968. In 1971, one of my favorite tracks opened up out in Morris, Illinois. The Grundy County Speedway with a 1/3 mile asphalt oval. You know, and it's this small group of tracks that we frequented and raced at in those days. You know, by the 90s, the thrill seemed to have vanished, with first the Santa Fe Speedway closing in 1995, followed shortly by Raceway Park in 2000, and lastly with Indiana Motor Speedway closing in 2016. The last track standing is Grundy County Speedway, which is open till this day. At this point, I haven't mentioned Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, which opened up in 2001. That's because it's a NASCAR 1.5 mile tri-oval track. It has a drag strip and a dirt track, but I really don't know about short track stock car action there. I've been out of it a long time, and I've only been there once. And anyway, NASCAR left in 2019, and future events are on permanent hold. It's most probably closing for good. Lastly, I don't talk about Rockford Speedway, which opened in 1948, or Sycamore Speedway, which opened up in 1960 as Bob Joe Speedway, or LaSalle Speedway, which opened in 1992 on the site of the Tri-City Speedway that opened up originally back in 1947. These are all great short tracks, and are still open today. But we didn't race there. We only attended maybe as a spectator every once in a while. You know, those tracks were too much of a road trip for us Chicago Southsiders. You know, when you go racing, there's rules. There's 3 I can remember distinctly. First rule, don't paint your car green. It's bad luck. Rule 2, don't number your car 13. It's bad luck. And probably the most important rule that I can remember is Rule 3. Don't eat peanuts in the pits. It's bad luck. Well, Demo Derby was coming up in the weekend. So we went out and found an old Valiant, a 62, 63 Valiant. And we painted it green. And we knocked the windows out, ripped out the interior, put in a safety harness, got it race ready, you know. And then we painted this on the side of it. We rummaged around the garage and looked for, some automotive race type stickers that we had laying around, and we slapped those on the fender. And of course, you know that you gain 5 horsepower for every STP sticker you have on your car. So, boom. There we go. That'll take care of us. And last but not least, we put on the good old number 13. And here we had the Mr. Peanut Special, number 13, green. We showed up at the track with the car, under a tarp, put it in the pits. Time the Demolition Derby came out, we rolled out onto the track to applause and jeers, and in 10 seconds, we were completely destroyed. Like I told you, there's rules to racing.